Hopefully this is one of the first MLS fireside chats that we're going to have out of many coming up.
Love it.
I'm Jerry Legrand, Chief Technology Officer, with Matt here. He's the MSI President, and we're going to be talking to you a little bit about coming soon.
Well, great, Jerry. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you to all you guys for joining us. Matt Weaver, Coldwell Banker McMahon. I am the MSI President, and I'm super excited to be with you all today. I checked this morning on the MLS. There were 1,033 active listings right now in the MLS, and there are 18 coming soon listings. So congratulations to the 18 of you. You are Christopher Columbuses of the Greater Louisville Association of Realtors. You're out there making it happen, the first ones to accept the challenge of a coming soon listing. But we just thought we would take some time today to answer questions that you might have about coming soon's tips and tricks. Jerry's got a ton of knowledge, and we're just going to tap into that today too. So take it away, Jerry.
Well, thank you, Matt. Well, as everyone knows, I'm sure, we've launched Coming Soon. It's been about a month now. The world hasn't ended.
Nope, it has not.
You know, I feel like there's been a great acceptance of it, as you said. 18 Christopher Columbuses out there. So, yes, thank you for those. I'm going to go through a couple questions that we've had and have Matt provide the answers for you. Just a couple common questions that I've received that might clear up a few misconceptions in the market. I guess the first one is, what is the biggest difference between having a property in active status versus coming soon status?
Well, I think the biggest difference is you can't show it. You get the exposure, but you can't show it. And also, there's no IDX distribution.
That's correct. That's correct. And the only other difference I would point out is the coming soon rider on the sign, and any advertising that you do has to have coming soon on it as well. So what forms do I need? If I want to put in my listing in coming soon status, what forms would I need to fill out?
Basically, you got to treat it like it's a normal listing that you would take. The one addition to that is that you also include the coming soon status form. So just like you would normally do with an active listing, but you include that coming soon status form as well. That's my take.
That's correct, and that has to be uploaded as soon as you put the listing in.
Yep.
So make sure you have that form filled out by your client before you start it.
And signed off by your broker as well.
Of course, of course. Okay, so how long, if I wanted to put a listing in coming soon, how long could I leave it in that status?
You can leave it there for 14 days, and that 14 days gives you the time to get it ready to go live, so to speak. I think one of the things that we'll probably talk about later in our discussion, but one of the things that people maybe have a little bit of confusion about is the addition of the language go live. So we've got our effective date, and then we've got our go live date. The effective date now becomes the date that it goes coming soon, and the go live date is the date that it's going to go active. I think that's one of the misconceptions that we've had in all of this.
That's a great point. The go live date has caused some confusion, so I appreciate you pointing that out to everyone.
Sure.
So I'm a seller. I've had a house for 14 days. I'm still not ready to show it. Yeah. What do I do at this point as an agent? What do I do going forward?
So at the end of the 14 days, the property is going to automatically flip to being active. There's nothing that you or your office staff has to do in order for it to go into that active status at the end of the 14 days. But if you have a seller that's just not ready to show it, that's when you would utilize the property showing restriction form, get that signed by the seller, get those dates agreed upon with them, and get that uploaded into the MLS, and get the MLS changed to reflect that there is a property restriction form, and that way it can be noted in the document section.
Correct. The only thing I'd add is if it's going to be longer than 7 days, that form is not necessary. You can just put it into temporarily off the market status.
Great. Yep. Good point. Good point.
Okay. So one of the things that we've gotten a lot of questions about are accepting offers while the property's in coming soon. We have this crazy white hot market right now. People are coming in. Offers are flying everywhere. If you have a property coming soon, can you accept an offer?
You can accept an offer. It's very important to strengthen the point that the property cannot be shown during that 14-day period. Those offers then would need to be sight unseen offers. So that's one very important point that our membership needs to understand is in order for you to be able to accept an offer, it needs to be a sight unseen offer.
Great. One of the things that I'd like to point out is we worked with Showing Time to block out the ability for people to schedule showings on a coming soon listing until that go live date hits. So at any time when you have a go live date, after that you can pre-schedule showings without any issues. So that's one of the things I wanted to point out is show it as much as you want, but you have to have it in active status first.
Correct.
So we've gotten a lot of questions about that. So if you have a property in coming soon status, I think we touched on this a little bit earlier, what advertising is allowed?
Very first thing that you want to do is make sure that you have a coming soon rider on your sign. That's number one thing that you need to do. Then you can do any personal marketing that you would like to do on that property, but it must also contain the verbiage of coming soon. You can utilize your own personal marketing, you can utilize your own social media, internet marketing, but it must contain that coming soon language. One thing to point out is it will not be distributed through IDX. So that is one thing that you don't have until it goes into that active status.
Correct. That's a great point. The IDX restrictions are something that's going to keep it off of Zillow, Realtor.com, any brokerage websites, all of those type of public portals are not going to see it. So it's going to be MLS only or personal advertising. Great. Okay, so what about client emails? My clients are, clearly desperate for the houses as soon as they hit the market. Can I send those through the portal? Can I send them through email with the coming soon status?
Yeah, you sure can. I mean, it's a status just like any other status. It's selectable in your searches. So when you go in, you create those searches and you save them, and then you add a subscription to that client. For those coming soons, those will be attached and will be sent as well.
Great. So how about a little scenario question for you? We've gotten a lot of questions about this. People utilizing the coming soon status maybe not as effectively as they could. Other avenues that we have. If you have a client that wants to list their house on a Tuesday afternoon and they don't want to start showing until Thursday, what would you recommend they do?
That one isn't necessarily a coming soon status prospect. I would put that one in a showing restriction form status. I think that makes a much better use of that vehicle versus the coming soon.
Sure, and if you do that, you're going to get immediate exposure on all the websites we just mentioned,
Right.
And so it's actually better for your client if you have that short of a window to not utilize the coming soon.
Correct. Yeah. For sure.
If you have the pictures and everything ready.
Right.
Correct.
And that's a big part of it too. If you're prepared from a marketing perspective, then that's a great vehicle to use, that property restriction. If the seller hasn't been able to allow you to get to that point, then maybe that's when you would utilize the coming soon.
Sure. Okay. Well, say I have a property that's active and I want to move it back to coming soon. What are the restrictions there?
So once you put it into an active status, you cannot move it back to the coming soon status. Plain and simple.
Okay. And what time frame do I have to wait to move that back to have another coming soon?
So you would need to wait, I believe it's 90 days, is that correct, Jerry?
Yes, that's correct.
90 days to put it back into that status?
Yes, unless the owner of the property has changed.
Has changed.
Yes.
That's right.
So if the property closes, you want to relist it, then you can have another coming soon at that point. But if it's the same owner, within 90 days, only one coming soon is available.
Great.
So that was really the majority of the bulk of the questions that I've had coming in. Like I said, I think it's been accepted very well. People are using it. I don't have a lot of questions on it. But clearly we've had some. These are the top ones that I came up with. What about in your brokerage? Have you guys utilized the coming soon status?
We have utilized it several times so far, and it has been a good vehicle for us for getting properties, kind of like putting a timeline on a seller to be able to get them to move forward on getting the property ready to get it actively on the market. A lot of times, if you give people some rope, they're going to take as much of it as they can get, and when you have a timeline. And you tell them, hey, it's going to go live on this date, then they can get it ready to show on that date, and there's kind of a timer there for that. So that's one of the things that we've seen useful about the coming soon. Also, it allows a conversation piece with the seller that they can know that we have a vehicle that will allow them some time to get it ready. A lot of times they feel like they're under pressure because they're sitting down with a real estate agent and they better have all their ducks in a row, because as soon as that agent walks out the door with a completed packet of a listing, they've got to be ready to show it in this market, maybe even within the next hour. So this allows them a little bit of time to take a breath, get it ready, get it on the market the way they want it to be on the market, and have it look its best, but also get some exposure in the meantime between that point and the time it's ready to go live. So that's really what we've seen.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to point out something you mentioned earlier is that, maybe people are a little nervous because it's a new status.
Yeah.
There is a fine structure associated with this if you break the rules. But the one thing to remember is just don't show the property unless it's in active status, and make sure it's out of coming soon status before you show the property, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think if you especially go back and reference the email that was sent by Greater Louisville Association of Realtors that laid out the forms, had a video, that email was a very comprehensive email, and just review that, but don't be afraid of it. To Jerry's points, there's a couple key things that you need to do, but it is a way for you to get some exposure and get your property out there. Once it's ready to show, you'll have showings lined up and ready to go.
Oh, great point. Great point. Are there any questions or anything
Any
like
questions
that?
from the group so far?
No.
No questions?
I guess we're just killing it.
I think we're just doing a great job.
I think so.
Coming soon.
Unless are there any people viewing us? I guess. Is the better
Yes.
question.
Greg Taylor says, thank you guys. Nice job explaining this.
All right. Well, Greg, thank you.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate
you.
that.
And I just want to point out, if there are ever any questions, if you're putting something in the coming soon and you're nervous about it, feel free to always call the MLS department here at the Greater Louisville Association of Realtors. We're happy to walk you through, answer any questions you might have, keep you in compliance. This is a great tool if you need it, and so I don't want people to not use it because they're afraid of the fine structure. We'll definitely work with you and get you educated as much as we can.
Sure thing. And I'm always available too as your MSI president. You can reach out to me by email. It's mattweaver@coldwellbanker.com. Or I'd be happy for you to call or text me at 502-376-0884.
All right. That's everything I have today.
That's all I've got too.
All right.
Appreciate you all. Thank you.
Can we whisper to each other like we're running between two ferns?
How about we just do high five?
Yeah.